From now on, we will study about the first sort of an adverb, that is the present participle. The present participle as an adverb describes the subject-object relationship with the focus on the former half of the interaction with the object from the perspective of the subject indirectly described by the present participle. The present participle as an adverb describes the definition of the verb, and the definition of the verb describes the subject. So we can understand that the present participle describes the subject in the indirect way. The present participle describes the subject to start the definition of the verb that consists of the body of the present participle, and give the definition of the verb as the body of the present participle to an object that can be stated or unstated. So we can understand that the speaker focuses on the interaction between the subject and the object with the especially on the former part from the perspective to focus on the subject, who starts and gives the definition of the verb that consists of the body of the present participle. So the present participle that originated from the intransitive verb as well as the transitive verb describes the subject indirectly via the description by the verb. So we can say that the subject that is described by the present participle is the subject and the former part of the subject-object relationship. The present participle that has the form of the suffix ing as the latter part of the verb is the body of the present participle conveys the information that the definition of the present participle to indicate an experience, a condition, or an action lasts for a period. This description, this explanation is applied to a gerund, a present participle as an adjective as well as an adverb, because this explanation is about the form of the present participle. The present participle that has the trait of the adverb describes how the subject exists for a period to specify the point in time when the definition of the be verb describes that the subject exists. This explanation is about a clause stated in the progressive tense. The present participle to describe the be verb is applied in a clause stated in the progressive tense to describe the condition of the subject. There is a clause, he is studying hard. The term, the progressive tense, may reveal that the subject continues an experience, a condition, or an action during a period. The speaker describes the existence of the speaker at first with the description by the be verb. The form of the be verb is reveals that the subject, whose number is 1 and who does not participate in the conversation with the speaker and the listeners at the present as the fundamental basis to describe the condition of the subject exists at the present when the speaker states this clause to the listeners in the conversation. The present participle study describes the existence of the subject at the present. We can suppose there is a photo in our phone. We want to look at it bigger than the present. So we can zoom in, zoom in. We will apply this logical understanding to the clause stated in the progressive tense. The subject exists at the present. The present can be a point in time. The period that the speaker sets as a point can be deviated according to each speaker. A speaker can set an hour as the unit to identify the present. The other speaker can set a year to set the unit to identify the present. From this perspective, we can understand that the speaker can zoom in the present point in time into a period when the speaker can actualize the condition described by the intransitive verb study, that is the body of the present participle studying, applied as an adverb to specify the existence of the speaker by the definition of the be verb is. So we can understand that the clause stated in the progressive tense that describes the existence of the subject with the be verb at first reveals that the speaker intends to describe the condition of the subject with the definition of the be verb. In the clause, he studies hard, the speaker describes the condition of the subject without the emphasis on the progressive condition of the subject, with the definition of the verb study that can be an intransitive verb or a transitive verb, both. We can be curious about the past participle applied as an adjective. Applied in a clause stated in the passive voice of the speaker. Because in the clause stated in the passive voice of the speaker, the be verb describes the subject at first, and the past participle with the trait of an adjective describes the subject as a subjective complement. We studied about a clause. I am greeted. In this clause, the past participle greeted is applied as an adjective to describe how the speaker as the subject is at the present. The speaker as the subject is in the condition to receive the condition described by the transitive verb greet from someone. The speaker focuses on the object in the subject-object relationship mediated by the transitive verb greet. Someone greets the speaker as the subject. The speaker focuses on the object to state the clause. We can understand that the present participle applied in the clause stated in the progressive tense is important to reveal the tense of the clause. Revealing tense is the role of a verb. The adverb, the present participle, is related to the second role of a verb to reveal the tense of the clause. And we can also understand that applying an adverb is essential for a clause that the adverb is applied in. The clause that an adverb is applied in can be stated into two clauses. For example, the speaker states the duration of the condition described by the intransitive verb study of the subject. The speaker can state two clauses at the start of the condition and the completion of the condition. Like, he studies hard and he continues studying hard. The speaker fuses the two clauses into a clause with applying the adverb studying. This tells us that the present participle is taking on the additional role that can be replaced by the other descriptive words in two clauses. We can understand the role of the present participle in the clause stated in the progressive tense is an emphasis, and the speaker can state a clause without an emphasis. However, changing the perspective to state a clause cannot be replaced by the other forms of a clause. So we can understand that the past participle applied in the clause stated in the passive voice of the speaker is included in the range of the adjective that can take on the role as a constituent of a clause, as a subjective complement that is essential for the clause. And the present participle studying can be replaced into the other descriptive words in two clauses. So the present participle applied in the progressive tense is classified into an adverb.